I never take the late train. But that night, I stayed late at work to finish a project. By the time I got to the station, the shops were shuttered, the air cold enough to sting my cheeks. The only sound was the faint hum of the escalator and the wind funneling through the tunnel. The display said the next train was in 2 minutes. I stood on the far end of the platform, wanting to be alone. When the train pulled in, it looked emptier than usual. I stepped inside and glanced down the length of the car. Only one other passenger, a man at the opposite end, sitting with his back to the wall, baseball cap pulled low, hands in his jacket pockets. I picked a seat near the rear doors, dropped my bag beside me, and pulled out my phone. No signal, the usual in this stretch of track. 2 minutes into the ride, I heard footsteps. I looked up. He was walking toward me. Not rushed, not casual either. He sat directly across from me, despite the car being almost empty. "You're out late," he said. I gave a polite, neutral smile. "Yeah, not your usual train." Something about that stopped me. "Sorry. I see you most mornings," he said, as if that explained everything. "You usually get on 2 stops back." I stared. "Do I know you?" He shook his head, smiling slightly. "Not yet." My mouth went dry. He leaned forward a little. "You live near the river, right? I've seen you walking there." I hadn't told anyone at work I lived near the river, and the idea of him watching me made my chest feel tight. The train slowed for the next station. The doors opened. No one got on. No one got off. He didn't move. Neither did I. "You should be careful walking home this late," he said. "A lot can happen between the station and your door." That was enough. I stood and walked into the next car. This one had 3 passengers. A young woman with headphones, a man asleep against the window, and an older guy reading a paper. I slid into a seat near the woman with headphones, hoping proximity to someone else would help. A moment later, the door between cars slid open. He stepped through, sat 1 row behind me, close enough that I could feel him looking at me. "You don't have to be afraid," he said quietly. "If I wanted to hurt you, I would have already." The woman with headphones didn't react. The man with the paper didn't look up. We passed another station without stopping. Only 2 left before the end of the line. My brain was running in circles. Do I get off early? Do I stay on until a busier stop? But the stops ahead were just as deserted this time of night. I typed a message to my friend. "Call me as soon as I have signal." Saved it in drafts, waiting for the tunnel to break. He leaned forward. "You're thinking about running when we stop?" His voice was almost amused. "You'll be tired. I'll be fine." I stood and moved to the very front of the car, right by the door. When the train slowed for the second to last stop, I didn't wait for the announcement. I shoved the door release and stepped out the second it opened. The platform was empty. No staff, no passengers. Just the echo of the closing doors. I turned toward the stairs. Footsteps behind me. I didn't look. I just ran. I reached the street level and turned right, toward the taxi stand, but it was empty. Of course it was. I kept walking fast, phone in my hand, trying to get a signal. Behind me, I heard his voice. Closer than I expected. "It's safer if we walk together." I crossed the street without looking, almost getting clipped by a passing car. I ducked into the first lit place I saw, a 24-hour convenience store. The man behind the counter looked up. "Evening." I forced a smile. "Can I just wait here a second?" "Sure." I pretended to browse the snack aisle, heart pounding. After a minute, I risked a glance out the window. He was standing across the street, hands in pockets, watching the store. I stayed inside for 10 minutes, pacing slowly, pretending to choose something. Finally, I bought a bottle of water and a candy bar I didn't want. When I stepped outside, he was gone. I started walking toward home, taking a different route, keeping to the main roads. The night air felt thin in my lungs, but I kept moving. He stepped out of it. "Missed you on the train," he said, smiling.